Kanye West, he would be facing sex trafficking charges if it was anywhere else.
Kanye West's actions have raised serious concerns, to the point that in many other places he could be facing sex trafficking charges. The situation highlights how severe the allegations appear and why they have attracted so much public attention. If these actions had occurred elsewhere, the legal consequences might have been far more serious.
Celebrities that saw it. It's probably a lot of stuff. Look at Usher. What Usher say? I seen some things I shouldn't have been seeing at that age. What does that tell you? That he's seen some things, he was around some things when he was young that he shouldn't have been at a Diddy party. So that's going to show you that there's certain things that are happening that's going on that here it is, this kid was saying he shouldn't even seen it.
Many celebrities have spoken about witnessing things they should not have been exposed to at a young age. For example, Usher once mentioned that he saw things he was too young to understand or be around, which raises serious concerns. Being present in such environments, like high-profile parties, suggests that inappropriate situations were happening behind the scenes. When a child openly admits that they should never have seen or experienced those things, it clearly indicates that something was wrong and should never have been allowed to happen.
A certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know.
I had a certain feeling when I watched Usher speak on a platform and talk about how much Puff taught him and helped him in the business. While I don't want to focus on other platforms, many people who were around at that time are aware that there was a serious situation between Puff and Usher, one that reportedly even led Usher to being hospitalized. That is Usher's story to tell, and he can explain it himself. However, it raises an important question. How can someone give a free pass to a person who allegedly groomed them? For those who know what really happened, this is not something that can simply be ignored.
Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right when you was at Diddy.
Let me reframe something for you. Think back to the time at the Swiss Hotel when several inappropriate situations were happening openly. There were multiple people present, and the environment itself was clearly not suitable, especially for someone young and impressionable. Certain actions that took place that night were witnessed by others and left a lasting impact. I'm bringing this up because you are defending someone who, as you know and as many others know, did not treat you properly during your time at Diddy camp. These experiences are part of the reason people question why such behavior is being overlooked.
I heard about some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. You know, I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not going to speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that, and they may be doing something, they may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
What did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking, and we was around some people, something like that, and then some people might say, yo, I don't F with that dude. And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when people say, yo, man, I don't F with them niggas, man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard, and that's what happened.
I heard these stories years ago from music executives back in Harlem, though I won't mention any names because many of them are still active in the industry and running their own programs. Some of them may choose to speak on these issues themselves one day. At the time, it was mostly conversations happening behind closed doors, the kind where people quietly warn each other about certain individuals. You would hear things like someone saying they didn't feel right about a particular person or that they wanted to distance themselves completely from the industry. Back then, I didn't even know who Usher was, so I couldn't connect the dots. It was just troubling talk that didn't fully make sense at the time. Later on, as more information surfaced and others began sharing similar stories, those early conversations started to align with what people were finally willing to acknowledge. What once sounded like rumors gradually felt more like a pattern of behavior that many people had been aware of but were afraid to speak about openly.
Like some friendship stuff, and it was a tour bus, and Puff was in the back, and there was a lot of girls in the front, and Jamie was just real touchy-feely, but Puff didn't come out the back. I don't know if Puff came out the back of the tour bus. You understand? And Jamie went back there for a minute or so. Then he just came out and he was all touchy-feely with the girls. And I'm looking at this dude like, wow, this dude kind of like touchy-feely with these girls, and he don't even know them. They know him because he's Jamie Foxx, but he didn't know them. So I don't really know their real relationship or how close they was. I didn't meet Jamie Foxx.
There was a situation on a tour bus where Puff was in the back, and several girls were in the front. Jamie was also on the bus and was acting overly familiar with some of the girls, even though he didn't really know them personally. I wasn't sure if Puff came out of the back of the bus at any point, but Jamie was back there for a while and then came forward, behaving in a way that seemed too touchy with the girls. I remember thinking to myself that his behavior was unusual, especially since he didn't have a personal relationship with them. They only knew him because he was Jamie Foxx. I didn't really get to know or talk to Jamie Foxx directly until later, so I can't speak to the nature of their relationship or how close they actually were.
To an exotic bookstore, with Puff. I didn't know he even did that, but we was in Atlanta. So when we went through the door, they gave him a brown paper bag, so I guess this is a place that he was used to and people knew him there. So when they gave him a brown paper bag, Puff was just going around the store, just picking items off the shelves and stuff like that, putting them in a brown paper bag. So then, I was behind him and no Diddy, but I was about 3 feet behind him, as he was putting stuff and putting it in his bag and stuff like that. So this one particular place that he was put up there, he had to reach up kind of high and get it. So he just started pulling things out, and it was he was pulling a lot of them off there. So I was like, so I looked up and the thing said butt plugs. When he walking down the thing, said butt plugs. I said, hey yo, just to mess with him. I said, hey yo, what are you getting these for? And he said, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yes, you can. And I waited up at the register for him, because they had the big counter up there. So when he came to the counter, I said, yo, I'm finna see what this mofo is putting in his bag, because I know he gonna have to take everything and put it on the counter so the dude could count it, right? My man, when he came there, he gave the dude a wad of hundreds like this. So he gave him a wad of 100 and just put it up there. The dude ain't even, you know what I'm saying? He ain't even want to know what.
The first time I ever went to an adult store with Puff was in Atlanta, and honestly, I didn't even know he shopped at places like that. As soon as we walked in, the staff handed him a brown paper bag, and it was clear that he was a regular there. People recognized him and treated him like they knew exactly what he was doing. Puff moved around the store confidently, picking up items from the shelves and placing them in his bag, completely at ease, while I followed a few steps behind, trying not to be too obvious. At one point, he had to reach for things that were placed higher up, and he started grabbing several items at once, like he was in his element. Out of curiosity, and to mess with him a little, I jokingly asked why he was picking certain things, and he just told me to let him do his shopping on his own, which I respected. I waited at the register while he continued shopping, watching as he calmly handled himself. When it was finally time to check out, Puff approached the counter confidently, placed everything down, and made the payment smoothly. He didn't explain anything, he didn't make a scene, and the cashier didn't even ask questions. The whole experience really stuck with me. It showed how comfortable and familiar he was in that space, how confident he carried himself, and how natural he seemed even in situations most people would find unusual or awkward. It was one of those moments that made you realize just how composed he was, no matter the environment.
He and Puff was given
They went into the room, and I honestly don't know what exactly was happening in there, and I wasn't concerned with it. However, Puff warned me not to go up to that room, telling me it was better to stay away because a lot was going on that I didn't need to be involved in or see. His advice made it clear that the situation inside was private and not something I should be part of, so I stayed back and let them handle their own business.
Nobody called me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it, but I don't know what kind of half a homo that is, and you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about
Jay-Z and Puff were both given something together, though the exact details weren't clear at the time. It was an instance that showed their close connection and influence within the industry. Being recognized or acknowledged in this way highlighted the respect they commanded and the roles they played in shaping the music scene around them.
so close that expect him to remember, but I remembered. You understand? And he told Puff, he said, yo, Puff, yo, I heard about that Gene right there. That Gene got a mean left. Oh, you said that Gene a knock a out. Then he gonna come up to me and say, man, you look like, man, you a tear ass up. And I said to himself, I said, yo, no Diddy, pause, whatever. I said, he don't even remember. I was about to knock him the F out. He didn't even remember. He said to me to Laura. That's how these kids.
So, they had returned to the East Coast after being away, and it seemed like things were picking up where they had left off. Being back in familiar territory brought a different energy and focus, as they reconnected with people and places they knew well. The change in location also seemed to set the stage for whatever came next in their plans and interactions.